So I'm in this group on Facebook that's about like family trees and genotyping and all of that stuff, right? And the group is predominantly white people, and that's how it is in every group, unless you specify, oh, black, whatever, right? So this one white guy, he came across a family member who had enslaved people, right? And he made a post talking about how remorseful he felt, and just the sadness and the guilt and stuff that he felt coming across this, okay? And I want to get into the comments that a couple of white people left, just the few that I screenshot, because there was a lot of nonsense under that post, right? But I want to talk about this because many years ago on YouTube, this was back when I first started my YouTube, so a lot of people probably didn't see this video. In fact, I was talking about how I need to start doing like re-uploads of my old videos that I've deleted off my page, right? But I made a video on YouTube a long time ago, and I asked the question, are you thankful for slavery? And I talked about how the way white people paint slavery and how they paint Africa really has a lot of black people in the back of their minds thinking, well, man, I'm kind of thankful for slavery, right? And I want to get into that because these comments under this post, they play into that whole conversation that I brought up years ago. So the first comment that I'm going to get into is from a white woman. Her name is Rebecca. So, I mean, it's only fitting that we call her Becky, right? She said, my great-great-grandfather had slaves. On his deathbed, he asked for his sister. His sister was the child of a slave. My family loved their help and made sure they were well off, including being left in the will and given several hundred acres after he passed. Not all were bad. You take care of what you pay for. Now, we're going to dissect this entire comment, but I'll just start with the beginning and go through it so I don't miss anything, okay? So the first thing she said was, my great-great-grandfather had slaves. Now, I want to put some focus on that because great-great-grandfather is pretty recent, okay? I'm pointing that out because anytime the conversation of slavery gets brought up, and it's, context in America, right? People are always like, oh, that was so long ago. Everything has changed since then, right? But I don't think a lot of us really realize how recent that was because of this propaganda that's pushed surrounding it, right? Your great-great-grandfather had slaves? Are you serious? That is so recent. In fact, let me tell you guys something that I went through when I was in 4th or 5th grade. I can't remember which grade because I went to the same school for both grades and I had the same teacher in the same class. Because that school, we had this thing where like, you had the same teacher for each grade and you kept your classmates and you traveled up grades, right? But it was 4th or 5th grade. And I remember we used to do a morning meeting, right? Every morning we would sit in a circle, discuss current events, whatever, right? And I remember one morning, my teacher told us that Rosa Parks had died, y'all. So here I am, 9 or 10 years old, right? And I'm like, wait a second, that was like a record scratching moment for me. Like in a movie, like, wait, hold up. I said Rosa Parks was alive this whole time. I was like, hold up. Because, at that age, you in elementary school, every year for Black History Month, they show you some movie, Our Friend Martin, some old black and white pictures and stuff. And they say, we shall overcome. This was so long ago. We've gone so far, right? So, in my mind, these people didn't exist anymore. There was no way I was living at the same time as civil rights legends, right? So when the teacher told us that Rosa Parks had died that day or the day before, whatever, I was like, what the hell? I said, Rosa Parks was alive this whole time. I said, like the lady who said, I'm not moving from the front of the bus, she was alive this whole time? Are you serious? And that just changed my outlook on everything because the way that these atrocities against black people are painted, like Jim Crow, slavery, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's always pushing this narrative. It was so long ago. Why are black people still talking about it? But it was not long ago at all. This woman's great-great-grandfather was an enslaver. That's very recent. Like, that is very recent. So the next thing Becky says is, on her great-great-grandfather's deathbed, he asked for his sister. His sister was the child of a slave. Now, the first thing I want to point out is the fact that she glossed over how that child was conceived, right? Because I really doubt that the enslaved woman who had his sister consented to a relationship with the enslaver who, come on now. Like, I'm sure we can all pick up what I'm putting down here, right? So that's the first thing I want to address. The next thing I want to address is this. Because Becky is pushing this as a heartfelt story, right? Oh, yeah, my great-great-grandfather, his sister was half black. She was a child of slaves, and he loved her, right? But this actually goes to show you that you can be related to white people and they will still enslave you. Like, this story, it didn't at all send the message to me that she wanted it to send, right? Because she sent this message, golly gee willikers, we love them, right? But you telling me that your sibling is enslaved, right? Or at least the child of an enslaved person, okay? And you still don't say, yeah, slavery needs to end. This is messed up. Even when it directly affects your family. That just goes to show you how much these people abhor black people, right? Again, she told this story as some attempt at being, heartfelt. Oh, yeah, his sister so-and-so and so. But I'm reading this as your sister was enslaved and you still didn't fight against slavery. If somebody enslaved my sister, baby, we would go to war. Are you kidding me, right? Are you kidding me? You telling me that you hate black people so much? Because it sounds like his sister is biracial, right? Because clearly Becky is white and she's talking about, her white great-great-grandfather being an enslaver, right? You telling me that your sister was the child of an enslaved person and was probably enslaved herself, and you was like, oh yeah, sure, that's cool. That really goes to show you how deeply hateful these people are. I'm not picking up love from this story. I'm not. Becky then goes on to say, my family loved the help and made sure they were well off, including being left in the will and given several hundred acres after he passed. Not all were bad. You take care of what you pay for. Now, my question is this, right? If I walked up to Becky and I said, hey, I'm about to enslave you, do you think she'd be like, oh, sounds like a plan, Toucan Sam? Or do you think she'd be like, what the hell? What are you talking about, right? I really doubt that she would consent to being enslaved, because that's kind of the definition of being enslaved. Like, if you are enslaved, you are not consenting to that arrangement, right? She typed this whole comment out, attempting to, share this feel-good story. But the question becomes, okay, you loved the help so much, right? But you never asked, hey, do you want to be a free person? Because the answer is, nobody wants to be enslaved, right? So if you really love these people, why didn't you say, hey, I'm going to free you from slavery, right? No, you didn't do that. So whatever you were feeling, clearly it's not love. You've confused something else with love. Now, this last line, she said, you take care of what you pay for. First of all, that is not true at all. That's not true at all. And you don't need any sort of understanding about slavery to even know that that's not true. Because I done bought some stuff that I treated like trash. Y'all, my laptop is so raggedy. I drop this thing on the floor like every other day. I'm not even joking. Like, I be standing up trying to grab it and then it just slips out my hand and falls. And I paid for this laptop. I paid good money for this laptop, okay? So, again, you don't even need an understanding of slavery to know that that is not true, okay? And then let's talk about the fact that you cannot pay for a person. You cannot pay for a person. But this gets me to a point. These people do not even view black people as people. They don't, right? They view us as something subhuman, okay? They view us as like a pet or something, an animal, because nobody asks a cat or a dog, hey, do you consent to me purchasing you and making you stay in my house? Nobody asked them that, right? And this is how white people view black people. They don't ask us, hey, do you consent to me enslaving you? Because the answer will be hell no, right? But again, they view us on par or maybe even below a cat or a dog. So then let's get into the replies. Because I replied to her and I said, a woman should be either beautiful or smart. You being neither is unacceptable. And I did not lie at all, because, we can all tell the bitch is not intelligent. And if y'all can't see her picture, I'll tell you right now, the bitch was not cute, okay? So she replied to me and said, I could care less. It's true. My family loved their workers and treated them like they were our family. Now, my question is this. How is an enslaved person a worker? Work is paid. You do some work and in exchange you get money, right? How is an enslaved person a worker? But this is my point. These people tried their best to downplay what slavery actually was. They will sit here and tell you it wasn't that bad and oh, they loved their workers and all of this other stuff. Like, y'all remember the textbook was going viral because it was talking about, it didn't call slavery. It said, a bunch of Africans came over here to work. Y'all, but this is the type of spinning they be trying to do. Like, this is the type of spinning that they be trying to do. Let's talk about the video I made years ago asking, are you thankful for slavery, right? Let's talk about the image that Africa was always painted in when we were growing up, okay? Now, this has changed a little bit in very recent years. At least you might see some Afro beats on TV or something, right? But when I was growing up and well into my like adulthood, literally, the only time you ever saw Africa on TV is if it was like some feed the children commercial. Oh, please, 10 cents a day and get clean water's a little undaku, please, right? And it'll be some pictures of some hungry kids with a big stomach and some flies flying around them, right? And you'll be watching that like, oh, like I'm glad I'm not African, right? And I promise you that painted like an image and it planted a seed in your mind to the point where a lot of black people, I feel like, have this thought in the back of their head, right? You know, and they may very well be like, oh, you know, slavery was horrible, it was bad, you know, I'm not downplaying that, but I'm damn near a little bit thankful for slavery because, you know, I wouldn't want to be born there and you know, be going through that stuff, right? And I promise this is all like propaganda and psychological warfare that white people are doing on purpose. Now, be honest with yourself, right? What is the likelihood that you're going to demand reparations and repayment and what you are owed if you feel like what happened to you was low-key a good thing, right? If when you think of slavery, you think, oh, well, at least like I wasn't born in Africa, like, you know, then you're not very likely to be like, hey, this was a horrible thing. You never paid us. You owe us money, right? And white people know that. They are doing this on purpose. That's why anytime 99% of the time you hear a white person talk about slavery, it's always a serious downplaying. Oh, they were treated like family, and oh, not all was bad, and you know, it was so long ago, and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. They are not even rooted in reality, though, because I made a video very recently, in fact. The people who are subscribed to me now probably saw it, right? But I was talking about how white people always use the line, oh, why would you get reparations for slavery if you were not the one who was enslaved, right? That was your great-great-grandparents, right? But using that logic, the victims of the Tulsa, Oklahoma race massacre should have received reparations, right? But they didn't. Even though they are still alive and they sued federally or whatever, right? They were denied reparations. But using white people's logic, since they were the ones alive at that time, they should have received those reparations, right? Right? So clearly it's not about whether we were actually alive at the time or not. It's about the fact that these people expect to be able to do whatever they want to do to us, and we just have to deal with it. We're never going to get any sort of get back. You definitely have to be careful about cave folk doing their cavely thing. You got to watch them close, because when I tell y'all, and I say this in every other video, and I'm going to keep saying it, white people is playing chess and black people is playing tic-tac-toe. Y'all, I can't even say we playing checkers. I cannot even say that we are playing checkers, because when I see stuff like this, it's so intricate. There are so many layers to it, right? And it's like, this is some serious psychological shit that these people are doing to black people. And half of us don't even realize it.